Welcome to Dear Santa, a multi-sensory exploration. All of the ideas and activities contained in this session are included in two resources, the teaching pack and ideas for adapting the poem into a play, and I shall email those over to you after this session. So we're going to explore how to source your story props, using the props to promote communication and areas of learning, ideas to adapt the poem into a play, Christmas-themed sensory extension activities, and I've got a lovely student enterprise idea to share with you. Just before we start, a little bit of health and safety guidance with relation to your props. Be allergy aware, be aware of any choking hazards. Interactions should be led by the student, who should be allowed to participate with expectation, never force stimuli, and stop the activity if the student shows signs they're not enjoying the session. I'm going to share the full poem with you, and then we'll break it down into smaller sections and we'll explore the different props and ways of working with those props. Dear Santa, I'm writing my letter early this year as you get lots of mail from people, I hear. I've tried really hard every day to be good, to share and be kind, just as you should. Here's a few ideas of things I would like. Some Play-Doh, bubbles, and a shiny red trike. A toy car, a boat, and a jet plane. Some track for my station, a very fast train. A whistle, tambourine, and a very loud drum. A tough tray and slime, now that will be fun. I would like a new physio ball, my old one's gone flat. And for my new trike, a shiny hard hat. You can bring me some chocolate and toffees to chew, chocolate coins, tangerines, well, just a few. A couche, a torch, and some lights for my tent. I will make good use, it'll be money well spent. And one more thing I forgot to tell, for my red trike, a shiny new bell. Mum says I must write for my sister who's 2. Bring her a doll and a shape sorter too. I will look for you, Santa, high in the sky, and leave you some milk and a tasty mince pie. I must go now, as it's getting quite late. Thank you, dear Santa, Johnny, aged 8. So the story opens with our student writing their letter to Santa. So you could write a letter to Santa and explore a variety of writing materials, different types of papers and chalks, coloured pencils, and so on. Practice fine motor skills. Can the students fold their letters and place them in the envelopes? Can the student turn the pages of a toy catalogue? This is a nice activity for some of our students who might not be mark making. Can the student point to the items that they would like to add to their letter to Santa? And maybe you can support them to cut out and stick those pictures to make a little letter. For our PMLD students, we could explore likes, dislikes, and sensory preferences. You could offer 2 choices of physical items and support your student again to find those items and maybe stick them in a letter. Write to the real Santa. Now, I've done this lots of years, but you need to be very early to get a response. From this free Royal Mail service. All the details are in the teaching pack. Here's a few ideas of things I would like. Some Play-Doh, bubbles, and a shiny red trike. Playing with bubbles is a wonderful opportunity to build anticipation skills, model the language, ready, steady, and then wait for that response from the student. It could be an eye movement, a gesture, it could sign, or it could be a verbal response, and then say go and blow the bubbles. Can the student blow the bubbles back to you? Blow the bubble mixture through the wand slowly if you want to form giant bubbles that will float and wobble in the air, and you can catch them on your wand. Promote visual tracking. Can the student track and pop the bubbles using their finger? Fly swatters and fishing nets are also a wonderful tool if your students are working on precision. Promote listening skills. Listen to the bubbles pop. If you blow the bubbles around the back of the head, just near the ear, but be careful with the student's eyes, the student might just be able to hear that pop and feel that slight moisture on their face as the bubble pops onto the skin. Promote communication skills. Can the student communicate a request for more bubbles or for you to blow the bubbles again? And a nice activity is to attach a switch to a bubble machine, and that gives our students independence when they want to see those bubbles come flying out into the air. And you could make bubble snakes too. Here's an unpoppable bubbles recipe using some very simple ingredients. Dissolve a tablespoonful of sugar into a cup of water. Stir in 2 tablespoonfuls of washing up liquid, and then you just spread the mixture onto the table or a flat surface such as the student's lap tray, and using a straw you start to blow your bubbles, but you'll find that they won't pop and you can stack them on top of each other. A toy car, a boat and a jet plane. Nice opportunity to promote turn-taking skills. You could roll a toy car to the student. Can they roll it back to you? And promote that language. My turn, your turn. Build anticipation skills. Again, modelling the language, ready, steady, and waiting for that response before you say go. And then release the toy car down a cardboard tube or a click-clack track. Can the student catch the car as it emerges from the other end? Explore mark making. Can the student dip the wheels of the toy car into paint and then push the vehicle along paper to mark make? So lots of opportunities to promote language skills. Provide a choice of toy cars. So you could model a language, red car, blue car. Comment on the student's actions, pushing the car down the tube, car has stopped. Can the student follow instructions to stop, go, or go forwards, backwards, turn a corner? Some track for my station, a very fast train. There are many benefits to playing with train tracks. You've got all that hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills as students slot those pieces together, and the planning and problem solving involved, making the track curve, making it nice and flat so the train can rumble around continuously. And the students might want to build bridges or level crossings or tunnels, and it's nice to incorporate some small world items in there. Toy people, animal, trees. They could make some Lego or Duplo buildings go in there, and combine sensory items, bark chippings, gravel, sand or grass. And you can incorporate role play. So you could reenact scenarios such as a truck collecting bark chippings from one end of the train station, taking them around to deliver them to the train, who's going to carry them to a building, and so on. So we've got a wonderful opportunity to promote communication and language skills as students work together and listen to each other's ideas and turn take, and the gross motor skills and spatial awareness as your student navigates that floor space. A whistle, tambourine and a very loud drum. So play a beat on the drum. Can the student communicate a request to listen to that sound again? Can the student play the drum using their fingers or the palm of their hand? Can the student play the drum using a drumstick, a beater, a drum bush, or maybe experiment with items found around the room, pencils? What sound does a drum make if you play it with wooden spoons, and so on? Explore your beats and rhythms. So play a sequence of beats on your drum, and can the student copy the beat and record their sounds? So record the beats and rhythms that the students play. You could record it on a Big Mac, a talking tile, a good old-fashioned dictaphone, they're very easy to use, or on your iPad, and play them back. Students love to hear their voice and any music that they've created played back to them. Explore different volumes and tempos, so you could model the language, loud, soft, fast or slow. Explore different types of drums. Maybe you won't have a big selection of drums in your setting, so you could pop online and watch footage, for example, of a steel band or watching some people play the bongos and so on. And a lovely activity is to place items on the skin of the drum and watch them bounce as the drum skin vibrates. So you could pop some Christmas items on there, some baubles, some tinsel, chocolate coins even. The harder you hit that drum, the higher they're going to bounce. A tough trained slime, now that would be fun. I'd pop this recipe in your teaching pack. It's using chia seeds, water and food colouring. It's half a cup of chia seeds, 2 cups of water, pop in the fridge overnight. Then the next morning, remove from the fridge and gradually stirring 2 cups of corn flour, and you'll reach this wonderful slimy consistency. Pop some green food colouring in there as well for authenticity. And why not put some flavour in? You could put some peppermint flavour in. That's quite nice for a Christmas theme. Or maybe the students would like to put some cinnamon powder in there, or grate some nutmeg into their slime. And just a little tip for you, a builder's cement mixing tray is a cheap alternative to some of the more expensive play trays that you'll find in the catalogues. You can buy these cement and plasterers trays from your DIY centres. A new physio ball, my old one's gone flat. Wonderful opportunity to promote motor skills as the student uses the pumps to inflate the physio ball. I've put there one of these big pumps that you can stand up and really put your body weight into it. And I've also put some bellows. I just love these bellows. I use them in lots of different sensory activities. They cost about £4. If you just Google camping foot pump, you'll find them come up, and they have a wonderful nozzle that you can direct the air as well. So the students could take turns in inflating this physio ball. You could all sit in a circle and pass it round and see who can inflate the ball the fastest, how soon you can get this completed, or if you can do it at all. It's quite a challenging task. I think you'll all be puffed out after about 5 minutes. I like these physio balls that have the little balls inside that tinkle around. I've put some exercises in your pack for working with students on physio balls. Again, health and safety, always supervise the activities and practice in a safe, hazard-free environment, and never force movement. If some of your students are on plans with their therapists, then seek advice first. Model the language, ball, roll forwards, backwards, and so on. Lovely opportunity to explore balance, exercise, gentle massages and gentle stretches. And for my trike, a shiny new hat. Would the students like to take it in turns in trying the cycle helmet on, extend learning and discuss bike safety? Why would we wear a helmet on a bike? What might happen if we don't? Chocolate coins and sticky toffees to chew, and tangerines, well, just a few. White chocolate coins, milk chocolate coins, again, nice little choice for your students. Maybe some of your students haven't tried white chocolate before. Drinking chocolate, that's another idea. Prime motor skills, can the students peel their own tangerines and break them into segments, or can they ask for help if they need some assistance? And I've just popped this little activity in here for you. For any of you who have got students working on speech and language, working with their pets, lovely way to teach a student to ask for help is to place a motivating item in a sealed box. You can always seal it with some rubber bands or a little bit of sellotape so you can open it, but it's a little bit more challenging for the students, encouraging them to pass it back to you to ask for help. So you would put a velcroed help symbol on the lid and use a communicative partner behind that student to help teach this skill. So basically, if they're reaching out for bubbles, they would use the symbol, to ask for help. A couche, a torch, and some lights for my tent. Lots of ideas here for different types of torches. I'm a big fan of using head torches. They provide a hands-free option and they're ideal for promoting visual tracking skills, as wherever the student points their head and their eyes, the light will follow. Dynamo and wind-up torches, great for promoting fine motor skills and for exercising those hand and finger muscles. I've put down a pen here, a little pen light. Some of our students might still be working on their grasp, so you could place a little woolen glove on their hand and put some Velcro on it, put some Velcro on the little light pen light, and they'll be able to hold that light and direct it where they want to direct the light. Again, these finger torches are wonderful. They help children focus on items that may be manipulating, and again, they can work on pointing and counting skills as well. You can also get colour changing torches with lots of different colours within them. A nice simple activity is to make your own light boxes. So here's a very simplified version. Some battery powered LED lights. I always sellotape the packs up so the students can't get to the batteries for safety reasons. Pop them in a lidded box. And you can also put some light up toys, your spinners, your cushions, and so on, and sparkly items. Seal that box. You could have this on a larger scale as well, with a great big storage box full of wonderful light up items. Pop-up tents, huge fan of pop-up tents. You can buy them quite reasonably. It used to be about a tenner, but with the way things are going now, they've probably doubled in price, but worth an investment. You could set up a Santa's grotto in your little pop-up tent. You could put tinsel, decorate it with baubles, put your light up toys in there, and so on. And you can also theme tents with your other lessons. So for example, if you were exploring the seaside, you could put a layer of sand in there, bucket and spade, some shells, seaweed, all your beach items. You could create a space themed tent by putting items like silver foil in there, and again your lights, and you could hang planets from the little arms on the top of the tent. So lovely idea there with pop-up tents. One more thing I forgot to tell, for my red trike, a shiny new bell. So again, exploring cause and effect. I squeeze this, I get that sound, I press this, it makes a noise. And you can see if the student can turn their head to track the noise. So stand at the other end of the room where they can't see you, behind them, and ring your bell and see, will they turn their head to track where that noise is coming from. Mum says I must write for my sister who's 2, so bring her a doll and a shape sorter too. I'm sure you've seen these, but I love these dolls of different ethnicities and dolls with disabilities. I think they're perfect for our children. Shape sorter activities, you could practice as a team, practice your turn-taking skills to complete the shape sorter, maybe put the shapes into a sensory bag and students take it in turns in removing a shape. Maybe they keep their hand in the bag and feel the contours or the edges to guess what their shape is. Can the student name the shapes? I will look for you, Santa, high in the sky, and leave you some milk and a tasty mince pie. Allergy point again, we've got nuts in there. You may have vegetarian or vegan students because there's suet, but you can get vegetarian and vegan mince pies. Maybe you want to break down the ingredients and explore them separately. Sultanas, raisins and currants, all your wonderful herbs, cinnamon sticks, your cloves, but be careful with your clothes as they are a potential choking hazard. They're quite spiky. I would place these in a little bag or in a little sock and just tie the end, and then you can give the sock a rub and they smell delightful. You could explore apples, or the students might want to grate some nutmeg. This could form part of your D&T lesson. So if you've got a baking lesson due, why not make some mince pies? So let's run through the skills promoted during this multisensory story session. We created a bond between the storyteller and the story explorer, engaged in the topic of Christmas, promoted communication skills, so all that wonderful eye contact, listening, the shared attention, and that language development and communication skills. The students have had the opportunity to explore and express likes, dislikes, and sensory preferences and make choices. So maybe students have tried some cinnamon, decided, no, I don't like cinnamon, or they decide that they like the sultanas, these bright, thick, yellow sultanas. Delicious. Develop self-confidence and well-being, trying out new ideas and skills. Poetry, listening to the rhythm and rhyme. And if your students can't understand all the words that you're saying, they'll still benefit from listening to that wonderful pattern in your speech. We've promoted self-awareness, asking for help. Again, more stop and no. And as you're aware, it's just as important to teach our students to make a rejection as it is for them to make a choice. We've explored cause and effect by using all those torches, bells, bicycle pumps and lights. Promoted physical development, so hand-eye coordination, fine motor skills, manipulation and control of those props. Engaged in mark making, if we go back to the beginning of the story, writing our letter to Santa. D&T nutrition, students might have tasted new foods. They might never have tried white chocolate before. They might never have tried some of the ingredients in a mince pie. Exploring baking, lovely sensory activity, the flour and the butter and so on, and those wonderful aromas that you get when the food's in the oven. Explored musical instruments, physical development, so those physio ball exercises, and we've promoted social skills. So if your students have been working in a team, they'll have had to practice turn taking, sharing, waiting, listening to other people's ideas. And finally, promoted positive sense of self, and celebrated achievement. So it could be that you didn't deliver the story all in one sitting. That's fine. You can break it down and explore different elements of that story, still celebrate the achievement of the end of it. And the stories form a base on which to scaffold learning, enabling your students to work on personal goals and individual targets. So if you've got any goals and targets, you could probably pop them somewhere in that story quite easily. So there's been a lot of talk on social media lately. That time of year, my class has been invited to present a short play or drama for the Christmas concert, particularly if some of your students are complex or complex needs or PMLD students. So I put some ideas together, and this will also work wonderfully if you've got young children as well. So whether you're just exploring drama in your classroom, or if you're taking to the stage for a full play or a little section of a play, here we go. So picture the stage. You've got your student writing their letter on one side of the stage. On the other side of the stage, you've got Santa sorting through this big sack of letters. Now, you may wish for a member of staff to narrate the poem, or a student might want to read it out, or your students could sign or speak their line, or just name the toy as they enter the stage. Dear Santa, I'm writing my letter early this year. Spotlight on your student or student group, writing their Christmas wish list. You could have students flicking through toy catalogues or cutting and sticking pictures from the catalogue onto paper. As you get lots of mail from children, I hear, so spotlight on Santa sitting sorting through that huge sack of envelopes, and you can be opening them up and reading them. And you could have a post lady or a postman enter stage and keep tipping more letters onto Santa's pile, and they can keep entering the stage throughout the play. It's a nice little comedy effect. Here's a few ideas of things I would like. Chocolate coins. So the student could enter the stage, sign chocolate coin, or say chocolate coins. And you might want to hand some into the audience for a bit of audience participation. Likewise with the bubbles. You may have a student that would like to enter the stage and show people how they can operate the bubble machine using a switch. a shiny new trike and a hard hat. Your student could enter the stage riding a bike, a trike, a ride-on toy, a scooter board, jumping on a space hopper, and of course don't forget to wear that protective helmet. And running alongside them, you could have a student ringing a bell and horn. That could be quite exciting and fun. Get a giggle from your audience. A toy car and a boat. So you may have a student that would like to operate a remote control across the stage, or some students that are rolling toy cars to one another across the stage, or playing with click-clack tracks, or your big cardboard tubes. And a jet plane, so you could have lots of pre-made paper aeroplanes. Again, you can make a lot of your props during your arts and crafts and design lessons, and a group of your students come onto the stage and throw aeroplanes into the air. And a very fast train. Your train could be as simple as a line of students that enter the stage, and they could sign train in Makaton, so bend one arm and move it in a circular motion by the side of your body. They could be moving in a cardboard box train. So if you picture a cardboard box and you've opened out the lid and you've opened out the base, pop it over the student's head, they hold the box, and you could decorate the boxes with the wheels of the train or the passengers' faces and so on. Alternatively, you could make a little cardboard box train. You could tie a series of boxes together and place light items inside these boxes. So you might put a beach ball in one, a teddy bear in another, and have a student pulling the train across the stage. A whistle, tambourine, and a very loud drum. Wonderful opportunity to take a break in your play and sing and or sign a song that the audience know and can join in with as the students play their instruments. Maybe something like "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." A new physio ball, my old one's gone flat. Little comedy element. You could have two students entering the stage. They've got this deflated physio ball. They're taking it in turns in trying to pump the ball up, but it keeps deflating every time. And with a shrug of the shoulders, they simply give up. A couche, you could give some freebies out. You could throw some couches into the audience or hand them out, depending how quiet or rowdy you want the audience to get. Bring My Sister a Doll. You could have students entering the stage pushing prams and or strollers. And a shape sorter too. Lots of ideas for this. Your students could dress as shapes. Again, you could make these props in your art lessons. A square could be a cardboard box, like as in the train. A triangle could be a pointed hat. A star, you could have the students carrying star-shaped sparkly wands. Alternatively, raid the maths cupboard and bring on the 3D shapes. Your students could be playing together in the middle of the stage, building towers and exploring the shapes, shape matching. Or you could have a student complete a shape sorter puzzle on stage. A nice round of applause from the audience there. Now we look for your Santa high in the sky, so dim the lights in the room and the students could enter the stage and shine their torches onto the ceiling. It could be quite magical. You could get somebody to throw some silver glitter, or glitter free. We could use those wonderful shiny stars that you get, the gold and silver craft stars. And leave you some milk and a tasty mince pie. A student could walk on stage or to the front of the classroom with their milk and a mince pie, or you could substitute the milk for a carrot for Rudolph for a less mess option. And they could hand those or just place them by the side of Santa, who's still on stage sorting through those letters, as Santa has been throughout the whole play or drama. I must go now as it's getting quite late. Your student could walk on with your class clock, just carry it across, or they could ring a bell or an alarm. Mind you, that might not be good for some of our auditory sensitive students, so use your discretion on that one. The stage could clear except for spotlight on Santa and the student writing the letter. Thank you, dear Johnny. Thank you, dear Santa, Johnny, aged 8. The student could approach Santa with their letter, pop it in an envelope, hand it over, and Santa could sign thank you. Exit stage. That's my ideas. Now, don't forget, you can replace any of the items in the poem with some of your students' favourite toys, books, activities. That'll just make it really nice and personal for your class. Before I move on to sharing the Christmas sensory activity ideas and the student enterprise, I wanted to share with you the other 3 resources that are available on the website. If you click onto the Story Library in the drop-down menu, or you can access from the main landing page. I have The Dentist. It's a lovely resource. It helps individuals overcome barriers to oral hygiene. It recreates the visit to a dentist for a checkup using props, and there's lots of strategies in there as well. Washing hands was written originally in the COVID-19 pandemic when the settings returned back to school. We had a huge focus on hand washing. COVID, sadly, is still with us, and we've got flu season approaching and the stomach bug. So it's a wonderful resource just to remind those students to keep practicing good hand washing hygiene. Lots of visual timelines and visual support in there for you, as well as fun activities such as the glitter germ game and a recipe for soapy dough. So it's like Play-Doh that cleans the hands as you play with it, and treasure soap, making your own soap and putting a motivating item inside the soap that encourages the student to wash their hands. The more they wash their hands, the nearer they get to retrieving that item. Dear Santa is in there too, although I will be emailing that over to you. And the weather, this is a wonderful standalone exploration of all the different types of weather, wonderful for using as a circle time activity, and also to help individual overcome barriers. So if you think about the clothes and the items we need to protect ourselves from the weather, they can be quite restricting, you know, your woolly jumpers and your hats and your scarves and your gloves. And then in summer, again, they've got to put a hat on, maybe sunglasses, the smell of sunscreen. So there's lots of ideas there on how to desensitize your students, just to help make their lives a little bit more comfortable in extreme weathers. You can buy resources individually. They're priced at £3.98, and each resource contains activities that link to areas of the curriculum. The farm, for example, has got 101 different activities, so it's excellent value for money. There's 25 titles altogether. You can subscribe to the members library and gain access to all of the resources to view online, to download and or to print out. I know some of my schools and settings like to print them out and bind them into books to pop into the library. You'll also gain access to free mini training sessions throughout the year, such as the one that we've had today. The price of the subscription is £95 a year. Wonderful value for money because you can have many different users within your school or setting. You will all gain access with your own password to log in. The resources include history, you've got all your seasons, topics such as the farm, the rainforest, journey into space, mini beasts, superheroes. We've got culture and celebrations, so Holy Chinese New Year, Burns Night, St. Patrick's Day, lots of different resources in there, and life skills. I love this jobs and work experience resource. It's aimed for all of our students, all ages and abilities, from your little early year students that might want to explore the world of work through role play, right through to your post-16 students who are out in the community on work placements. Just pop me an email on or message me through the chat on the website or social media if you've got any queries. Student enterprise. My favourite student enterprise has always been printing and selling wrapping paper. It incorporates wonderfully into an art afternoon, and it's cheap and easy to make. So you just need some rolls of brown paper that you can weight down, lay out on the tables and weight them down at each end, and let your students explore different paints and stamps and mark making as they put their Christmas design onto the paper. You might want to extend learning and look at repeating patterns with shapes and colours and so on. You might wish to simplify the printing activity, and I love an abstract holly bush design. You would just need a red and green bingo dabber, and the student makes a green line with their dabber for the holly leaf, and pops 2 dots on to represent the red berries. Alternatively, you can pop a red pom-pom, which symbolises the red berries, on hawthorn and holly onto the end of a clothes peg, dip it in the paint and print. You might want to have a red pom-pom and a green pom-pom to represent the leaves. Christmas sensory bag. Place Christmas items inside a bag. You want something to taste, something to touch, something that makes a wonderful noise like some bells or some tinsel. Can the student use their senses to guess what the item is through touch or through sound or taste or smell, and build those functional language skills? Can the student tell you what we might do with the item or where we might find it or purchase it? So, for example, the candy sticks, we hang them on the Christmas tree and then we will eat them afterwards. You might find them in a sweet shop. Setting up a toy stall or shop. I just love doing this activity. Santa's workshop. Role play, as we all know, is a crucial part of development, and it's just providing those opportunities for students to act out scenarios, promoting all the social and emotional development and building their confidence. So open up 1 or 2 of your cupboards, and this is brilliant because you will end up with lovely, tidy, organised cupboards at the end of it, and get out all your toys, your books, your games, construction items, action figures and so on, and pop them in a pile for the students to sort into groups and lay out their toy stall. You could also provide toy catalogues and order forms, so you could see if the students can write out their order forms and can another student who is a shop assistant process that order and find the item for them. Can the students make labels and price the items? Provide toy money and a little till or cash box. Can the students calculate change? If your students aren't used to working with money, then just work on the concept that once their money is spent, that it's gone. So if they want to spend it all on one big toy, or would they prefer to spend their money on 4 little things? Allocate roles. You can have your manager, the shop assistant, the merchandiser, the customers. You might have somebody that's demonstrating a new toy or game. And my favourite part of this activity is setting up a toy repair area. So it's an opportunity to get the sellotape out and have the student repair any ripped books, discard any books that have got missing pages, check your jigsaws. So you might have a group of students or Santa's little helpers that are going to be completing those wooden board jigsaws. A little tip for you: for jigsaws with more pieces in them, you could have a member of staff supporting students just to count the pieces. And remember, there's no point keeping incomplete jigsaws. It's just frustrating for our students. Any games with broken boxes could be put into clear zip wallets, and don't forget to cut out the front cover of the box and place the instructions in there. Again, any games that have got incomplete pieces, they just need to be discarded, as do your glue sticks without your lids on them, scissors that have been stuck together, glitter pens that have dried up. Maybe you've got colouring books that are complete. And can the students decide whether they're going to recycle these things, repurpose them? So, for example, could the pages of the colouring books be torn out, and can the back of the pictures be used for writing on, or whether things need to be, just popped into the bin? Last few Christmas themed activities, you might want to organise a toy swap in your class or school so students can work on the concept of second-hand items, one person's treasure, one person's junk, so on. Sound bingo, rustle tinsel, shake bells, tap baubles, pull Christmas crackers. Can the students guess the name of the item from the sound they make? Can they complete their sound bingo boards? And I've written a beautiful relaxation adventure. It's a safe practice. Dim the lights, get the students comfortable, whether they're sitting down, lying down, blankets, bean bags, and so on, and take them on an adventure with Santa on the sleigh with the reindeer to the North Pole. Again, this is in your teaching pack. So I really hope you enjoyed the session. I just want to tell you quickly that I do run an introduction to multisensory storytelling course. It's available on a one-to-one basis, small groups, or in set training, large groups for schools and settings. It covers the benefits of multisensory storytelling. There's a lot of information on how to source and use your story props there, focusing mainly on props being low cost, everyday items that you'll find around the classroom, the home, outdoor areas, and so on. We don't want our multisensory stories to be expensive. Using sound effects, lots of information on adapting existing stories and poems into multisensory stories so you can start writing your own as well, incorporating extension activities into your session, using the story props as a tool for individuals to explore and express their likes, dislikes, and sensory preferences. Got some case studies there and lots of activities, extension activities that link to areas of the curriculum. And the course lasts for an hour and a half, and there's lots of opportunities afterwards for questions and answers and chat, because I'm always happy to chat all things multisensory. So before I leave you, I just wanted to give a little mention as to the origins of this poem, Dear Santa. My dad sadly passed away a few years ago, and I was looking through paperwork and I found his poem, Dear Santa. And Dad's poem had things that we didn't really find in the classroom, rooting, shooting toys from the 1930s and 40s. So it was all things like your BB gun and nuts that we wouldn't encourage in settings now because of allergies, and lead soldiers and so on. And I thought it'd be a lovely tribute to my dear dad if I could use his poem, but why not change the toys and the items and the games and so on to be items that would be suitable for our young people and our teenagers with complex needs. So thank you, Dad. I write a blog each month as a free teaching calendar, and it's packed with ideas and activities for the month. You can find it on the website blog. You can also subscribe to the newsletter, which is at the very bottom of the landing page on the website, and that will get sent to your inbox. So thank you for taking the time to join me. I really hope you've enjoyed the session. I hope that you and your students all enjoy the Christmas season, which is soon upon us. And don't forget, your questions, queries, comments and feedback are always welcome. I love to hear from you. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.